I'm Sara and this is Influence to Equity. I will be joined by guests from a wide range of industries who all have the commonality that there's no perfect linear line to success or life. Together, we're gonna figure out what works for you, for what defines success along your journey. You might know Mark Webb as a defensive back for the Los Angeles Chargers, but you may not know that the young NFL star is also an entrepreneur and fashion designer. Focused on making positive change for the community, Mark, thank you so much for being here.
No problem. Thank you.
I'm fascinated because you have a job that a lot of people would want, that people would think is the pinnacle of like their life. You've made it, right? But I'm someone that always wants to know, how did you get here? What was the start of, not only from a football perspective, but just life and entrepreneurship?
I would say just hard work. Yeah. Just not stopping, continuously just pushing my limits. You know, before I feel like I was like very tedious on like what I would get into, what I would do. Where
did that come from though? Like, is that from where you're from? Is that like the hustle, the spirit of like where you grew up? Is that your family? Where do you begin?
Yes, it started with my household, and I say my mom and dad, just seeing them go out and, you know, just push the limit day in and day out, just making sure, you know, it was food on the table, clothes on my back, making sure I looked good every day, making sure I was able to go to sporting events and then do things like that. And then I had to say like my city for sure. Like if you ever been to Philadelphia, it definitely can motivate you for sure. I would say that had a big placement on my life, and it really keeps me going day in, day out.
What was it like from where you come from Philly? You've got this just life that you've built up, and as a kid, and obviously there's a level of like hustle and hard work because you don't just suddenly show up high school, college, and then get to the pros. What was it like getting ready for the draft? Like, where was your energy? What was your thought process? What was your mindset?
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun nonetheless. Like, it was fun just going through the processes. Like, now that I think about it, like, dang, like I went through a lot. But it was so fun just to go through those things, like knowing that like I built everything up like brick by brick, day by day, like just kept working, whether it was like working out after workouts, like doing a little bit more.
Oh, so you were extra. You were an overachiever.
I was extra. Like, I was very extra. Like I only knew workout. Like it was me and my dad going to everything. Like he had a big part of my life. It was just like, what else was there to do? I didn't see any other life. I only seen workout. And my friends that was around me, we loved to work out.
Even as a kid?
Yeah, it was different. Philly is not like a place like where you find like Florida and Texas and things like that, where you just find like the most trainers, the most outlets, the most sources. It doesn't go like that. It's like, it's totally different. Like everything that you do, you're literally straining to do it. You know, you got a lot of parents that work, you know, 9 to 5s, day in and day out. They don't have time to take their kids to after school programs or extracurricular activities and things like that. Yeah. I was just fortunate enough to have parents that was able to, you know, fit that in with their job, and look at me today.
How important is that extra push and having the right support system around you? And then also, how can that change your life? So how important is it for not only parents, but also for someone, let's say, who's 24 that's listening, which is part of my audience, and they're like, I'm young, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know what I have, I'm not from the best area. How can that be life-changing to find, let's say, mentorship or having that support system in their life?
It can be very crucial. I would say just being able to ask a question. I feel like where I'm from, everybody is scared to ask a question. Any hood you could think of, kids are scared to ask a question. They don't want to ask for help. We look at, like I would say, older, wiser people as villains to our movie. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, we don't know how to ask for help. We don't know how to just be thankful, give people their flowers, and, you know, maybe team up with somebody that we know is better than us. Yeah. But we know that we got our own trait. Like, we don't know how to do those things. Like, we don't have the patience or the capacity sometimes, or we don't believe we have the capacity to do these things. So
where did you find it?
Just knowing, like, when your parents work so hard, like, for you to do something, like, when you see them straining and stressing, what else can you do? You got to reward them somehow. Like, I seen smiles on my mom and my dad's face. I also seen frowns on my mom's face at times. Like, I grew up just like when I broke my first bone. She was like, you sure you don't want to play basketball or anything?
How old were you?
I was like at least like 12, 13.
Oh, no, I have a 12-year-old. I'm not ready.
It was life-changing, but I'm looking at her like, what? I'm like, what you mean? Like, it's like one bone. But she's just like, and I'm just like, dang, like, and then from that point forward, I just been proving her, right, making her right, like, dang, I can do this. Like, I shouldn't have to worry about things like that. I don't have to worry about injuries. And just knowing like things like that, like the game comes with injury. And when you know that, like, you just Xing things out. All right, the game comes with injury. Right. People can hate me on my situation. People can do these things. And after a while, you start to build an immunity that you don't have to worry about these things anymore.
We got to talk a little bit before the show. My why is similar to yours. So I was born in a refugee camp in Sudan. I'm Ethiopian. My parents come here as they're teenagers. One of the things that I didn't realize growing up was that I was watching my parents grow up at the same time. For me, part of my motivation is the same, where I can't afford to quit. I can't afford to give up. And it's not the pressure from them or that I owe them that, but a part of me feels like I owe them for their sacrifice. You talked about having a group of people, you talk about a team, and then immediately you decide after the draft to take on another challenge. First of all, are you crazy? Why?
I don't know.
No.
Like, what else is there for me to do? Like, a lot of people that know me, like, know that I work hard. If you really know me, you know that I work hard. Anybody that knows I'm always working hard. Yeah. And that's always my excuse for everything. Like, I'm working. But it's just like now, like when I chose to get into the clothing game, I would say, like, it wasn't work.
Really?
I call it work, but it really was more like, dang, like, I want to wear this. Like, this is what I always wanted to wear. This is what I wanted to make. Or this brand didn't finish it. Let me finish it. You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's more to something, like, and why would you not want to wear your own clothes?
But it is challenging. It's a lot. So where are you finding the capacity to prepare yourself to operate in excellence, to do what you have to do on the field, but also be like, yeah, I'm going to take this huge monster on, because what if nobody likes it? Or what if you don't like it, and the materials and sourcing, and is there a team built around that?
And see, like, when you throw all those things in there, that's complicating the situation.
True.
Like, I can't complicate any of my situations. Like, trust me, I can't complicate any situation. Like, football is hitting, tackling, blocking. Those are the main things that is never going to change. That's execution. Like, the passion is still there. Like, the passion is from Little League all the way up. It's basically the same things. When you got passion in something, like, you can't confuse it with business. Like, I feel like that's the first thing. Like, don't ever let your passion, like, die down, even waver. Like, the passion has to stay the same.
How do you keep from getting discouraged?
I play football, so I don't really think about this. Like, it's a new day. Every day is a new day, and that's why I'm glad I did play football, because it's taught me, it's done a lot of things. It helped me meet you. Like, it's helped me then do a lot of things, like, all over. I can't even announce them all. I can't bring light to them all, but it prepared me, like, mentally, like, to know, like, everybody ain't gonna mess with you. You can have a good day, you can have a bad day. Somebody could be a fan one day, somebody could not be a fan one day.
Listen, the way that sports works out, it is brutal, it's ruthless, and it definitely gives you thick skin, which is probably why entrepreneurship works for you. It's why influence doesn't bother me, because the hate, like, worked in sports, I worked in entertainment. I mean, that's every day. I'm an influencer. You get it every single day. But then with that being said, so you have the promotional side, you have to execute the clothing, you have to bring out this clothing line, you have to execute on the field. What about the promotional side of it all? Like, how do you grow your audience and the business simultaneously?
It goes back to what I was saying, like, something that we weren't really taught to do is ask for help. Yeah, I might have a platform or anything. I know for sure you would have more insight than me on reaching people and marketing and, ads and things like that, and just putting a post up. I know to ask for help. Like, my dad always was big on that. My mom was always like, you can ask me anything. You can ask me for help. Like, I know you need help. So at first it was like, all right, like, I'm not about to ask him. But now I see, like, why he was saying that, like, because maybe he didn't have that much help, growing up. Maybe he had some situations where he backed out just because of asking for help.
What's a tip that you would give someone who's 22 years old, 24 years old, trying to launch a line? Or I have an audience of men who are pro athletes because I spent so long in the league. How do you ask for help, and who do you ask? What are some tips?
Ask people that you look up to, like, people that you have that inspire you. It's brands that inspire you, like, especially if you have a platform. Like, I'm sure, like, most of the time, if you just DM somebody, like, hey, like I always give somebody their flowers first, because 9 times out of 10 it's somebody that I already watched. Like I already watched them do this work. Like I already was a fan before. I may not have followed them or anything, but I seen their clothes on other people, and I tell them before I even ask for anything, like, I really respect your brand. I really love your brand. I'm always giving people their flowers before I ask.
Having something of value to say before you ask for something, I think is important, because now you just want something. Because
I feel like if you don't, like, what are you doing? Like, don't forget, like, I've been playing football. Yeah, I can coach you on how to play football, but you talking about clothing, that's a totally different world. Like, you got to go, like, it's ground zero all over again. Just how you started hitting the pad, just how you started learning how to run with the ball, how to hold the ball, how to tackle, anything. Like, I'm starting from ground one, and I had to realize that from day one. Like, you are not there yet.
What would you tell a 22-year-old Mark that's somewhere in Philly, or an 18-year-old kid? What would you tell him about ground zero?
Don't be scared to be different. You can't be scared to be different. You can't be scared to, like, you got to know that everybody is not going to be on the same time you're on. Yeah. You got to know these things, like, all from the beginning. Like, you got to just, I would say, surrender the outcome. Like, any bad outcomes, like, just surrender it. Like, from the beginning. Whether, this drop is going to fail, or maybe this person is not going to help me. Maybe this person is not going to post it. Yeah. Because you can give it to a lot of people, but they may not post it.
And it's not personal.
I'm sure, like, a lot of the entrepreneurs or people that are billionaires, millionaires today, that's how it all started. Like, somebody didn't like their stuff. I'm
blown away by the fact that you're here when typically this is something as entrepreneurs we get into at 35 or 36. I've watched guys who retired in their 30s and have no idea what their next step is going to be because they didn't work on their vision. So for you, what was your vision for no wasted motion?
You can't stop. Don't waste any steps. Whether you falling, you still got to get up, take another step. Yeah. Like, there's no steps backwards, I would feel. It's always going forward. Everything is aimed to go forward. Like, you can't think of anything. Like, as soon as I think of a loss, like, I feel like one of my biggest strengths is, like, as soon as I think of a loss, I'm already thinking of the win at the, like, right at the same point I'm thinking of loss. Like, I'm like, how did I win in this situation? Right. So I always feel like I'm always going forward. My whole life, like, if you just look at my whole career of just playing football, it's been no waste of motion. It's like, I started out playing football. I remember I was at a 7-on-7. I hit somebody. The dude told me, a rival scout, or whoever, what they used to do, he put in a report that you'll never be able to get offers and you'll never be able to do anything if you hit people. And I was like, dang. Really? But that was the same rival scout, like, 2 years later, begging me for reports. Like, I went to college. I started as a receiver. I switched in the middle. Like, I switched on a Sunday, like my second game in college, to DB, just because I wanted to play. Like, I didn't stutter in my conversation of switching. I didn't do anything. I just was like, I'm just going to play that. That's the reality of entrepreneurship, though, and life just in general, right? But with entrepreneurship, you have to be able to pivot quickly, but also be okay with not having the title that you thought you were going to have, or finding an opportunity, finding that lane, and then taking it. What do they say? Opportunities don't just happen. Like, you have to be prepared so you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Right. The fact that you, without ego, switch from wide receivers, a lot of guys wouldn't have done that. I remember having a conversation recently with a friend of mine, and she asked me my opinion on her company. She was like, so what do you think I should do? I said, I don't think you should be CEO of your company. And I remember, like, she was not happy with me. She looked at me and she was insulted at first. And then she said, tell me why. And so we talked about it, and she's like, okay, I get it. And sure enough, about 6 months later, she hired a new CEO for her company. I think it's understanding that you stay not only within your scope of genius, but, like, if you're creative, then you do that. Or if, like, what position are you passionate for? And she was like, I am not passionate to be a CEO. I just want to be a creative. I just want to create for my design, for my line. This is what I want to do. And she became better that day. The day she said that, she became better. I know she did. And her company 5x'd in the first, like, year. You can't make it up. It was wild. 7 figures in 6 months. That's because she owned her situation. Like, yes. She knew what she couldn't do, and she owned up to it. And it's just about the speed of that. The next question I want to make sure that I ask you is, what is purpose for you? And tell us, what connects back to where you came from? Like, what is purpose for you? What is passion for you? My purpose is a broad, like, spectrum. I feel like I was born on this earth to help others. I will help anybody before I help myself. So, like, I feel like that's always my purpose. Wait, like, don't go sacrificing yourself now for everybody else. But I love, like, a smile on somebody else's face is like $1 million. Like, if somebody was down and I picked them up, like, I helped them out. Yeah. I did my job. Yeah. The purpose and the passion, they line up, but it still has like, the passion is like the push. You may have like a 4-year purpose, I would say. Like you may have like a purpose when you was little, like your purpose was to get to this little situation. Right. Like it always changes. But the passion is always the same. Like it's just the love for it. Waking up, laying your outfit out when you was 12, you get to NFL, are you still laying your outfit out? Like, are you still doing these things? Are you taking a shower maybe before you know, after warm-ups? Like, is that like a thing that you used to do? Like that's the passion. Like you just love to take that shower before the game. You love that feeling. You love this pregame song.
You really do live no wasted motion. You are like, living it.
Real life.
That's wild. Mark, I mean, we could talk forever, but I can't thank you enough for coming on. And for those that are listening, I want to make sure that I give you a few takeaways. 1, do extra. If that's your goal, go get it, no matter what it takes, because it takes the extra from you. Yeah. The second thing that I want to share is don't be afraid to ask the questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask for what you want. Don't let your passion waver because of business. Don't stop the passion. It's not personal. And lastly, don't be scared to be different. Surrender to the outcome. You can't force it. That should make you want to work even harder. Thanks for listening, y'all. And this is Influence to Equity. Until next time.